So, hello, my brown sugar chocolate chip cookies. Welcome to the first episode of Fresh. Stop laughing lah! Oh my god.
The rule is I only talk after I've been introduced. Oh no, I broke the rule.
Alright, so hello, my brown sugar chocolate chip cookies. Welcome to the first episode of Frustration Nation.
I haven't had dinner, I'm hungry now.
Alright, I'm one of the hosts.
Of Hungration Nation.
Alright. Alright.
Yeah,
I'm getting out.
What do you want to call yourself? What do you want to call yourself on a
have the sound of eating, like some people have this of.
Yeah. Can we just do first names? You do first names.
My first name, Kim.
Your first name, Drake.
Your?
There you go. Drake.
And I'm Jed. And the three of us make up Frustration Nation.
So...
And this is because, we don't have a proper recording space. We're recording this in like a random place where there are people and there's noise.
Yeah, it's budget. It's real indie shit. So the first thing that we are going to talk about is the situation, the strand.
Yeah, the COVID-19 outbreak, I guess.
Should we talk about the podcast first?
Yeah, should we set up the premise for the thing? Like, what is this? Okay, so...
Alright. So...
I mean, I guess all the podcasts that I've listened to, like, there are podcasts that take different formats. There are podcasts where it's kind of like someone is narrating it, and it's all very well put together.
Someone is giving you financial advice in a very sexy voice.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But the podcasts that I love podcasts that you kind of imagine these people are your friends because you don't have friends in real life. So you put your earphones in and you're like, my friends. And you imagine you're sitting around the kitchen table with all these people whom you'll never ever get to meet and who'll never know your name and will never return your calls and will never answer your tweets.
So anyway...
We're here to develop a very strong parasocial relationship with you guys.
Basically, yeah. We want all of you to fantasize about us, but not as individuals, as like a lump.
Yeah.
Like a weird amorphous lump with 3 heads sticking out of it. That's who we want to be in your dreams.
Yes, so we are your shit-talking, current affairs obsessed, media obsessed, secondary school clique that you never had and will never have because that's in the past.
Yeah, and I feel like as a Singaporean, there are so many things where you kind of talk about, where I just sit around and I go, Singaporeans won't get it. And I just kind of say that as a blanket statement. But of course, that's not true. And there are other Singaporeans out there who are saying the same thing, who also think Singaporeans won't get it.
Example, the three of us.
Yeah. So we want to be those people who hopefully, like, when you're thinking of who are these, who might share our points of view and who might be thinking about this thing in a certain framework, in a certain specific way that you only specifically have if you're Singaporean and if you're around our age and you consume the media we consume and all of these things that overlap. And I think there are a lot more of us than we think. And that's kind of what we want to put out there.
Yeah, so this is also like our project to feel less lonely about our lives.
I mean, everything I do is that. Everything I do is a project to feel less lonely about my life.
Yeah, but this is louder.
That's why we're breaking the social distancing rule. We are 3 idiots sharing one mic.
Yeah, we're gathered around one mic like it's going to be covered in saliva. I'm going to put it in my bag and take it home. And
but don't worry, we bumped elbows instead of
We did, yeah.
Bumped elbows like responsible people.
And then we vigorously made out. Yeah.
No. No. Only Jed and Drake.
Only me and Drake, yeah. Way to call us out like that. You cannot judge our love.
Neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah, no one shall judge our love. The love between two people who just met each other like 5
Pink
minutes ago.
Dot is probably going to get cancelled.
That's right.
They just announced that they're not going to have it at Hong Lim Park. Mm-hmm. They're going to do like a live stream.
Virtual, right? Yeah.
Virtual thing.
It's like a virtual open house. Like a lot of schools are having virtual open houses.
So we don't have to leave our homes to participate
now?
my
gosh.
So it'll be like, this is, I mean, everyone is joking that this is kind of like an introvert stream come true.
I mean, can you imagine? Because like the queues to get into Pink Dot are so long, right? You have to check your ID, and then like I think last year was it they reduced it from like 7 gates to 1 gate, so you all had to line up into 1 gate.
We're assuming that everyone listening is like LGBTQIA plus or an ally. So
If you're not,
You're still welcome.
yeah,
Yeah.
are they?
maybe you'll change your
Are
mind.
they? I'm kidding.
No, but because like I just feel I think even within the three of us, there's going to be some kind of like difference in specific opinions and specific reads of things. But that's why we hang out. That's why we talk about it. So I'm not of the notion of kumbaya, everyone get along, everyone be civil. I think that's like a false kind
Yeah,
of
like-
shit.
Yeah, if you're a Nazi, definitely fuck off.
Yeah. What Drake
I
says.
mean, forcing everyone to like sort of
Join hands in a
agree
circle,
and
yeah.
like just crush any sort of dissenting opinion that differs from the rest of us. It's not helpful. It's not helpful to produce a society where
Yeah, let's not tolerate intolerance.
Yeah, so when people are like so much for the tolerant left, and it's like,
oh yeah.
Anyway, speaking of pink dot.
yeah.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Speaking of-
Because we're
okay.
talking about like how COVID-19 is affecting Singaporeans and,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like the social constructs and why things are the way they are. Because it's interesting, like I think every 5 posts on my Facebook timeline is someone sharing an article saying Singapore is a model for how to handle a pandemic outbreak. Singapore is a model for how to contain this.
Yeah.
And I feel
South
like
Korea.
yeah, and I feel like so far things are going a lot better than they could have, and I am grateful for a lot of the measures that are put in place and the responses. And there are so far like 0 deaths of COVID-19 in Singapore.
0 deaths.
0 deaths.
Zero deaths.
As
As
of
of
As of this
17
recording,
March.
yeah.
As of 17 March?
46 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it also feels like I think everyone is still very badly hit in different ways, and this is we're seeing this kind of around the world, seeing everything slow down.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna quote John Lovett, who said that the Straits took it seriously when the NBA season was cancelled, and the gays took it seriously when Broadway was shut down.
Oh.
Oh, I love John Lovett.
Yeah, John Lovett's great.
I don't know who that.
No, so basically, like, God Save America, they're Chapo's arch enemy. Yeah.
Oh,
What's the
they're Chapo's
Yeah, that's
arch enemy. I see.
Yes.
That's why.
yeah.
Like-
that's the frame of reference. So if you're out here listening and you're like, who is Chapo? Who is Pod Save America? And it's like, maybe there's some of you who are kind of in the same specific media consumption sphere that we are. And if you aren't, like, still listen.
Yeah, just
because
continue
eventually we'll mention
listening.
something that
That-
you are aware of, I guess.
Yeah,
And-
we're still Singaporeans.
yeah, and I'm not gonna say like if you don't get the reference you're dumb, because then like
Don't
why
even
do I-
put that idea
Yeah,
out
Why
there.
did you say nobody was thinking?
Nobody said that.
Then I shouldn't hang out with all my weeb friends because I won't get any of my weeb friends' references.
Yeah, so like I think before this, at the start of February, like we kind of realized that we were gonna get it. Like
Yeah,
the response was like,
Around Chinese
it's not
New Year
a
time.
matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when
Yeah.
the cases started coming to Singapore, I was still actually in Malaysia. Like I was still in like East Malaysia, and I think everyone there was like, oh my god, you guys are doomed. Because it almost felt like we were uniquely doomed to be like just ravaged by
Yeah.
it. Because we
Right,
had like
yeah.
a high population of
Densely packed, yeah.
of like old people and lots of service sector, lots of shopping malls, transit hub. So
Yeah, and I think like right now we're talking about this work from home thing, and people are kind of taking it for granted that everyone can work from home. But of course, people in the service sector can't work from home.
Yeah.
Taxi drivers, Grab drivers can't work from home.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
teachers can't work from home, and they're not
Teach-
starting the schools yet.
not all the. I
Not
think
all
some
schools.
people are going online, but no, I don't think the younger ones aren't shutting.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like I saw this post where someone said COVID-19 is making people realize that some meetings could have been emails. and I mean, yeah. So what is like the situation? I guess for each of us specifically. Well, you're still in school, right? So
Yeah.
how has school been affected for you?
No, all of us still coming to school.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no change. Not where I'm studying. I
Wasn't
think.
there like a temperature taking kind of a thing?
Oh yeah.
Just the
Oh
basic,
my
like,
goodness.
kinda,
My friend was telling me, same course. She was telling me that it's the gun temperature one.
Yeah.
Every time she went to take
The
it, right,
laser
it was
gun.
like 34 degrees.
Because there is like a debate as to the accuracy of that, right?
The gun, yeah.
And I don't know, like, The other thing is the airport kind of scanners where they just show you like infrared, but it's all predator vision.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm kind of sort of freelancing, I guess. So I'm not super affected, but yeah, I'm a film critic, so I go out and I watch movies, and they've just cancelled a bunch of screenings. They've just cancelled a bunch of releases. So Mulan isn't coming out. We don't know when it's going to come out. Fast and Furious 9 has been pushed back almost a year. So from May this year to April next year, which is pretty.
What about a
nice.
Quiet Place sequel?
Yeah, that's actually like it was supposed to come out this week. The week that we're recording this was coming on 19th. I've already seen it, but I can't say anything about it because like it's not coming out. It's not.
Watch it.
And I really want people to watch it as well because like John Krasinski put out on Twitter, he said that he wants people to be able to watch it in the cinema. I think like just like the previous one, sound design is so integral to it.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna be a bummer because like a lot of people were looking forward to this and like I was all ready with the review and everything, and I'm lucky that I got to watch it, but I didn't get to watch Mulan. I didn't get to watch like the James Bond that's being delayed until November, and so now we'll see whether this rolls into like blockbuster season. So I mean, comparatively, this is all not important stuff, but I think it's just interesting. I mean, it's relevant to look at the many different ways in which everyone's lives are affected. So it's like some movies have been cancelled. It's not the end of the world, but for the people who do work on it, for the people who are like involved in this stuff, like they're going to be hit very hard. And it's not just the billionaires and the movie stars. It's the people who rely on like people who run theaters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Especially in the US where you have small theaters. Like I have a Facebook friend who runs a small theater in Ohio, and he's like basically there's no business. He's just streaming Disney Plus for himself in the theater. And
Do you think Mulan's gonna be on Disney Plus?
Eventually, probably.
Because that's
They're
the thing,
gonna
right?
like just debut in Disney Plus.
And they would take such a big hit if they do that, but like Universal's doing that right now. Universal is, in the US at least, they are releasing current releases on VOD. Invisible Man, Emma, The Hunt. So they're putting that on VOD.
I heard
for 20
Invisible
US.
Man is good.
It's really good, yeah. I liked it a lot.
I saw the trailer. I really liked it actually.
The other one's really good, yeah, the Elizabeth Moss, because it is very much like a take on domestic abuse, and it makes the abuse survivor the hero, the heroine, rather than making the Invisible Man like himself the protagonist, like he's the abuser. So anyway, yeah, so that's just kind of like my sphere and how my sphere has been affected. So one of the freelance places that I'm writing for, they wanted an article about Quiet Place, and I like finished it up, and then all of a sudden they said, oh, it's not being released. The date that it's released, so they said hold on to the thing. So I don't know whether they're still paying me for it. And if or when like that goes up.
I think they should still pay you.
Yeah,
because, I mean the work's already been done. It's just gonna be released later.
Yeah, so I don't know whether they're gonna pay me now or like when the movie comes out, whenever that is. So
But it might be a while. Like.
It might be a while, yeah. So yeah, that's me. Drake, how about you?
I recently got laid off.
No, I'm sorry to hear that.
It was directly connected to COVID-19, I guess. Like my company before wasn't doing well actually in the first place.
Yeah.
But initially it was just gonna be like a few cuts here and there. But once the virus hit, sales got affected really badly. People stopped going to shops. Footfall fell.
What industry were you in?
Footfall fell. Yeah. Retail. Yeah. So
And
they
you can't work retail from home.
Yeah. So our cash flow suffered a major hit. So the company decided to like just let go 60% of the work staff.
60%.
I'm sorry to hear that.
60%. And and I actually saw an article like a few days ago that Honestbee let go 80%.
Honestly, you mean the
delivery people?
Yeah, Honestbee they let go 80%. So it's quite.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I mean, not to say like the blame all falls on the virus, but like definitely it's kind of like a last straw on the camel's back.
Yeah, because like a crisis like this exposes a lot of the inherent weaknesses in certain systems, and like it stresses it past the breaking point where earlier like if people were
precarious kind of like working
like a teethering kind of
people.
effect.
Yeah.
Most people nowadays we tend to work very precarious jobs that are very affected by the comings and goings. We don't actually have that many like stable workplaces.
And that's the nature of the gig economy, right?
The gig economy.
And it's like, especially a lot of my friends who are performers and who are hosts and who rely on like events
Dry season.
gatherings. Yeah, it got pretty bad. Like, there was someone whom I know works at a theater company, and they contacted me and said, "Oh, is there any way that we can kind of get some publicity that we could get on the radio, because I'm a guest on a radio show." And then that day, the radio station locked down. And then the next day, that show that person was working on was postponed to the next year. And now we're seeing like Broadway shutting down for a month, which is unprecedented. Like previously during the different like strikes on Broadway, even that was just a week or 2 weeks. And even 9/11, Broadway only closed for 2 days.
Yeah.
So you just imagine, like, I mean, the big Broadway stars can handle it. Patti LuPone has money, she can eat. But, like, the dude playing the clarinet in the orchestra pit or the lady doing sound, like, So I guess, like, we are past the point now, but a month and a half ago, there are people who are saying, oh, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important to not say that and to not, like, kind of take your experience and map it onto everyone else's, because I think that's, honestly, I feel like that's a bit of a Singaporean thing. It's like, if it doesn't directly affect me, then it doesn't directly affect anyone else. But of course, it's not fair to generalize that, because there are a lot of people who are being very kind right now and are looking out for each other. But I think that's kind of the mood, right?
Yeah, I just kind of remembered something. So there's nothing really happening right now, because I'm in a very sort of like a indoor production heavy kind of course, and I'm gonna be graduating soon, and usually we have all these big like events, like these social, like these kind of networking stuff where we get our jobs from, and where probably we might be cancelling industry night. So a lot of us get our jobs from there, from meeting people there, and we don't even know if we're gonna be able to exhibit our work in that situation, and it's been kind of like upsetting to be in this liminal space where like time has sort of frozen. Like we've entered this sort of zone where it feels like everything around the world is happening, but nothing is really happening also. That's why I think that maybe some people here can take it quite lightly, because they feel like, oh, for us at least, it's just like time stopped, no jobs, nothing to do. We don't see that impact of like panicking. Our old people are still going out, people are dying, and we might be 1 month away from being homeless. Here, it's not as horrible, I think.
Yeah.
But I also see some sentiment where people joke about this killing the boomers, or like they sort of say that, oh, now that the flights are so cheap,
let's just go
I think
on
it's
holiday,
very nihilistic. It's a very, like, I don't really care kind of attitude.
It is, right? And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about when you told us that we were going to talk about COVID-19, and we're going to talk about, like, how it's affected how it's affected us as a whole, and how it's affected us individually. And I want to talk about memes as a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a certain extent where it's like, I laugh at it to get through it, and historically that's how it's always been. Like, there have been limericks that the soldiers in the trenches will talk about, and there's a lot of
Ring of Roses.
Yeah. Throughout history, that's how people get through things. But it does cross a certain line at a certain point where I think you always have to be cognizant of who are you laughing at. Like, who is the target of the joke, right? Mm-hmm. If the target of the joke is the virus, you're like personifying the virus and things like that, like that's fine. But if it's like, yeah, people are dying, I'm so happy, the earth is healing because there are fewer people. And
that is just cringe.
Like that,
Hoping
like
that everyone
is that actually happening?
I've seen people get into like Facebook arguments where someone is like, actually everyone should die. The entire population, like everyone on Earth should just die, and this is the cleansing and things like that. And I don't know how serious people are.
I do think that is a misanthropic minority.
Yeah.
But I do like there are clips on Twitter going around of people just chanting stuff like oh, Corona won't defeat us and everything, and they go into like the ocean and they're like in big crowds. Yeah.
Because like right now in the US, spring break.
Oh.
So then you have Bourbon Street all over, and there was like a huge like Post Malone concert, and then there was an enormous like Stereophonics concert in the UK, and then all these things like made me so nervous, because you never know, like if just one person has it. And that's a scary thing, because for me, like I started out having the mindset of I don't want to be paranoid, let's just be cautious, let's take all the correct precautions, let's wash our hands, let's like bump elbows, but let's not freak out. But now it's to a point where it's like freaking out is understandable.
Yeah.
And it's pretty scary. And I mean, like, imagine like if you have friends who are hypochondriacs, if you have friends who are already like freaked out regularly and are afraid of germs and things like that, and now how much more that has been amped up. So I think like the thing we have to realize is that it affects everybody in different ways, and we cannot be the judge of, oh, you're responding to this in a wrong way or a right way, because I think it's very easy to do that. Like if you see people panic buying and you see people punching each other in the supermarkets over toilet paper, like it's very easy to sit there and laugh at someone, but then it's like, what brings you to that point? So like I can't help but be judgmental as well, but then you have to take a step back and it's like, all of us are capable of this. All of us can be driven to that point.
Yeah.
I think that also reminds me of when we kind of a few days ago we kind of got scolded by our PM Lee, our now Daddy in Pink. Like he said something like the lives of all of us are like, you know, we're gonna be kind of endangered by an irresponsible few who keep going to work despite feeling sick. But the thing is, like, I think that we've normalized
Going to work sick.
Yeah.
Like if you just look at our Panadol advertisements, right? There's this one of this teacher. She brought her students to the museum and like her nose is red and she's like she takes Panadol and it's like, yes, I can be there for my students. Imagine doing that now.
Yeah, and that's kind of the scary thing, right? Because I think and it's not just Singapore, but Singapore is an example of that. And I think you see that happening a lot in the States as well. There was a point of time where President Trump was like telling people to still go to work when they were sick. And then like the CDC was like, no, let's not do that. So I guess like it has been normalized there, it's been normalized here as well, where it's like it reflects poorly on you. You get a red mark in school if you don't show up. And it doesn't matter if you were actually sick or if you were playing through, and it's the same thing. You're just missing a day of school.
Yeah, like we recently sent home a couple of foreign workers because they broke their stay-home notice.
Oh.
You're deported for like breaking quarantine.
Like they're not allowed to come back to work at all, like forever. And it's just
like hard to code switch between the times.
Like I understand why it's so important for them to stay home, but why did they go to work in the first place?
It's something that has already been brewing. It's something inherent to the structure of how we live.
Yeah, I mean, like even when we were back in school, when we had group projects. Yeah.
Okay, so context, Drake and I used to be classmates.
In poly, right?
Yeah, in poly,
Yeah, and when we had group projects and all, and when one of us got sick or whatever, like when we had to stay home, like it always felt terrible. Like we always felt like, the other teammates like probably think I'm a slacker.
I'm letting people down. Yeah.
Like even though like staying at home was very justified. Yeah, but there was still that feeling, and not to say that other people did blame you, but there was this culture of you have to keep working, you have to always contribute.
Yeah, that's happened to me as well in school, and I think that happened with it was a mental health thing that I had, and I didn't think I'd be going to this in the first episode. But the person who was my teammate ended up hating me, and it was like there was a really bad kind of falling out that we had. Like she sent her friends after me to yell at me and tell me off. And I've still not recovered from a lot of that. Like that was one part of the whole thing that happened. But yeah, I think it's very difficult to. The idea is each person is a cog in a machine, and if one cog doesn't turn, the whole machine breaks down. And it's so scary to think of ourselves only in those terms, but that's who we are, and I think that's what we are trained to be.
I mean, in Singapore, the very foundations of who we are as a nation, I think we're taught from very young that our only resource is people.
Yeah, and then
that's a little disturbing if you think about it, to think about yourself as a resource.
As a commodity. Soylent Green is people.
Wow, the mood is really good.
That's for all of you really ancient people there. But what am I supposed to reference? What was the reference? Snowpiercer, like a more current reference. Yeah, because Bong Joon-ho's in the side, right? Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? It's like you can't look at yourselves as an individual. You have to look at yourselves as a society, and I think that's especially ingrained into us in Singapore, because it's like within the span of 30, 40 years, Singapore became from there's nothing but swampland.
Yeah.
And now here we are as a first world country and an economic force to be reckoned with in the world. And this is all because our people worked really, really hard. And our parents and our grandparents, they like, there was blood and there was sweat, and they did all of this for the good of the country, and now we are enjoying the fruits of their hard work, and therefore you have to carry on that legacy and you have to work hard.
Are you quoting a social studies textbook?
Yeah, that's pretty much like, it is, right? That's what we're taught.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, that's true, but at the same time, I feel like a thing that I've grappled with a lot, and I'm sure a lot of Singaporeans have grappled with, is that Singapore is very good at projecting the image of change. Things look like they change.
Yeah.
But then when you drill down the principles, they don't.
Yeah.
And the underpinning principles have stayed the same. Right? And to me, like, so all of us in the arts, right? That's why we're here, right? Yeah. That's why we're sitting in some random basement around a microphone, because if we were doctors or lawyers, or if we were like...
if we were more well organized and we booked the library room.
Or something like that. Yeah. And
Well, you see, well-organized people don't start podcasts.
Yes, exactly. Take that.
Yeah.
Take that every
Or at least the podcast,
sorry, Conan, I love you.
Yeah.
structure, you know. So what is this?
No,
But this is our first recording.
Episode 00.
Yeah, like if you're listening to this, you are a trusted friend and we love you.
Like
But yeah, that's the thing, and it's the thing I always go back to is the founding Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew. He has his quote, which has haunted me and stayed with me forever. And the quote is, "Singapore doesn't have the luxury of poetry." And I was thinking about this quote when I watched the musical Cats. and I was at the same show where...
The movie or the
musical, the stage musical.
Okay,
It came to Singapore December last year.
Oh.
December 2019 and into January 2020. And in the same show that I was at was PM Lee. PM Lee was like the guest of honor that night. And I was imagining, like, look, what is Cats? Cats is the poetry got up, dressed in cat costumes, and is dancing across the stage.
Yeah.
Cats is the ultimate manifestation of the luxury of
Jet
poetry.
is very worked up whenever we bring up cats.
Yeah.
Jet is really into cats.
I've like been driven to madness by the movie, but I mean the musical.
It's a jetical cat.
Yeah, I'm a jetical cat.
Yes.
It's infested this podcast. So if you so I can do a movie podcast that only I listen to on the bus, and I send the episode about cats to Kimberlyn, and then she was like, "Oh wow, this is real bad. You need help." So I mean, that's so I feel like. That's the thing which has frustrated me, and I guess it's a good way to segue into it. Is it's kind of like every time I see anything that's Singapore made, you kind of feel like the adage, the mantra is support local, and you want to, because you know what it's like to be an artist in Singapore.
Struggling artist.
You know what it's like to tell people, please share this, and no one shares it.
Yeah.
And then like how much you get paid is contingent on how widely the thing is shared.
Yeah.
And then the thing doesn't get shared, you don't get paid. And then, but then when it comes to Singaporean-made stuff, a lot of it just doesn't personally interest me, and then I feel a guilt about that.
Yeah, but why? Why doesn't it interest us?
And to me, I think
It's like,
I look at it.
wondered.
I'm kind of looking at it like addressed from the point of view of film. The Singapore film industry, on the one end, you have the Jack Neo kind of movies, things that are aimed at the uncles and aunties in heartlands. And then on the other hand, you have like the Bujun films and the entity trends, and they go to Cannes and they go to Venice.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't have anything in the middle. You don't have any like mass consumer. You don't have anything that is for the average Singaporean, especially young people, and I think like their attempts
Singapore
at that.
social.
Yeah, they're.
Singapore
That's interesting. Right?
social.
It's interesting that you bring that up, Drake, because what is Singapore social? I mean, I've not actually watched it, but my
I have
understanding.
no idea what it
Oh
is.
my god. You guys know YOLO?
Yeah,
YouTuber?
YOLO, that's true. Yeah. Hey YOLO.
He's not gonna listen to
Give
this.
us a
is he?
signal boost. We need it. No, but I mean, he does like video reactions to it and breaking it apart, right?
And one thing that he keeps bringing up is that nobody in Singapore acts like that. Nobody. It just feels like it's an entire, there is one segment of the media circuit that is only constructed for other people in the media circuit.
Yeah,
It's kind of like when male writers try to write from a female perspective.
She tilted breastily down the stairs. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Something like that. Something like the only other people who like kind of can relate to it are other people who are
off that station, right? Yeah, and this is what I think the problem is. I think the producers of that show, who are not Singaporean, were trying to make Keeping Up the Kardashians. They're trying to make Shahs of Sunset. They're trying to make Real Housewives. They're trying to make like a reality TV show, and then we'll just plug Singaporean people who are in Singapore into these archetypes, and that's why the people in there are all like celebrities. They're singers and actors and social media influencers. And when people say it doesn't reflect real Singaporeans, neither does Keeping Up the Kardashians reflect real Americans.
Oh, Singapore Social is a reality show?
Yeah, it's a reality show.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's about like their circle and their
the people,
relationships.
I guess they're supposed to be in the arts also.
Yeah, Paul Foster, Capitan House. Like I know a couple of people who are in there, and I like them. Not friends with them, but I've bumped into them in things. Being very nominally on the outer fringes of the circle of Singapore media.
Are you still talking about a virus?
Singapore Social?
The virus of Singapore Social is
Oh, this is going to be so taken out of context.
the virus. Singapore Social Distancing. Yeah, there we go.
Singapore Social. That's the title of this episode, right? Yeah.
So
Every episode has to have a snappy title, and Drake just came out with a snappy title.
yeah.
Okay, but anyway, Jet, you mentioned something like the base of the Singaporean values of how we were taught. I feel like every episode, like whatever issue we talk about, can be linked back to that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, you can draw a line to the foundation.
it's like a pattern in us.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I know what this is called. But like
Jet is so confused.
What's it called? Yeah.
Lord. Y'all should read Noam Chomsky.
Oh, it's not bad. Like we took half an hour to give Noam Chomsky a shout out.
Oh my gosh.
So I want to give like a shout out to not a linguist, but there's I think it's a Beagle Jack Russell Terrier mix on Instagram, Singaporean dog, Singaporean owners, who is named Noam Chomsky.
Oh my
No.
god.
You guys,
that is
NOM,
so
Noam Chomsky.
cute.
You guys follow Noam Chomsky.
I'm gonna do it right now. I am on my phone.
My battery
horrible.
is dying.
Yeah, so So Noam Chomsky is a sociologist and a linguist, right? Like I've not read his stuff yet. Could you sort of kind of like tell us about how that relates to what Drake was saying? Uncomfortable silence.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of his writings which deal with how reality is sort of manufactured through like a base of like what kind of principles those who kind of hold the most powerful positions in society have. So through that, all media passes through, and all the frameworks in which we interpret our lives pass through, and that makes our reality. But that might not actually be what's real. That might not actually be like the actual social conditions of people. But we all have to. I'm getting censored.
IMDA coming at
We
you.
will not be silenced by your rolling wheels.
I can hear you.
But I think like that's something that we can all slowly cover over the next few episodes if you guys are still listening.
If there are episodes,
Yeah.
knock on wood.
There's no wood.
So yeah, I just knocked on my head. This is an audio medium. No, but I think Singapore is a very top-down society, and sometimes it's good. And I feel like in this situation,
I think, like the COVID situation, it worked pretty well for us, I think.
I have a friend who privately told me, and I will not out her or name her, but she said like in a fit of pique, in frustration, said, I wish more countries were dictatorial. And I totally get where she's coming from, like with specific regards to this. And I have like a close family friend who was sent home from university in the US, and he wrote this post and is reflecting on how when in times of stability we talk about freedom and we talk about this sort of like neoliberal ideal of you get to make your own way, you get to decide your own future, and then when shit hits the fan, you're like, I actually wish that there were there were a nanny state to kind of tell me what to do, right?
Yeah, because in countries like the US, you can't do what China did and just lock down entire cities.
Yeah.
People are not going to
People
listen
question
to
it.
you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. And I think in Singapore especially, we are so used to accepting it's for your own good.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, we should question that, but then at the same time, we should know when to question that. And we should know in what way to question that. And it's so difficult to decide, like, where the line blurs.
Yeah, because I think like on a day-to-day basis, it really shouldn't get too far. Also, we shouldn't just sort of accept that everything is for our own good and not have any say in that. I would like to believe that the reason why all of us have kind of complied is probably because of it's all kind of commonsensical, you know. That's also one reason I don't understand why people aren't like paying attention to like don't go to big crowded events, don't hold them. Like I don't get like why it doesn't click.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's so obvious to the rest of us.
Yeah.
And I think like you want to be in the middle. You want to be don't panic, but you also want to be don't be stupid. and it's just hard. It's hard.
That's what John Oliver
times.
said, I think.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's where he was saying, you know, don't be complacent.
But don't be an idiot.
Yeah, don't be an idiot. Yeah.
But also for the people out there who still have to work and all that, you know, I don't think that we should call them irresponsible or
No,
anything.
not at all,
They're
because,
not.
like,
They have no choice.
I think like a Post Malone concert, a Stereophonics concert is avoidable. But if you are a school teacher, if you are working in a store, in a department store, that's not avoidable.
If that's your only part-time job to get you through school, that's not avoidable. And I also do think that there should be some benefits for people to sort of fall back on if they get hit and, you
Like
know,
me.
by the...
There should be a safety net in place, and it's kind of interesting because like the extent to which Singapore's kind of social systems are. Sorry, Drake.
PM Lee did say, like in his last statement, that they were gonna do something for people who got retrenched, because previously they are in the budget 2020 they mentioned help for the companies, but not so much for the actual workers like myself.
Yeah.
So in his last statement, he said they're gonna help us, but I don't know yet. I don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm kind of hoping something will come of it. I hope that they will do something for the workers who have no choice but to stay home. Like just because it's not COVID-19, like they haven't got tested yet. But if you truly want people to stay safe and not go to work if they're sick, you need to help them out.
Yeah.
You have to guarantee them that, you know, if they do this, they're still gonna have somewhere safe to land once this blows over.
Yeah, like we were talking about nihilism and kind of nihilistic memes, and there are so many memes I've seen that kind of end with either way I die, and that's good. And like we can't. I mean, I kind of get where people are coming from, but at the same time, like I feel it's so easy to start off joking about that and then internalizing it and then becoming serious about it. It's like you know, I have a friend who has a huge crush on Kylo Ren, and they started out doing that facetiously, and now they're completely serious about it. So I think it's very easy to kind of like.
I mean, John Oliver has a crush on Kylo Ren.
He does, yeah. He has a crush on Adam Driver, which I think is a distinct and separate thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he also stated his love for a horse, so
That's right, yeah, the fuckable horse. Yeah, we're earning our explicit rating, we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's very much like you have to create a situation where people have a choice. But the way things have, I think it's a crisis that has shown a lot of inherent weaknesses in the system. And some systems are able to bear it better than others.
Yeah.
And some people within those systems can bear it better than others. So some people are going to be much harder hit, and some people are just going to be able to carry on as normal.
But in my opinion, I think in general, unfortunately, a lot of Singaporeans are a little more opposed to the idea of a sort of safety net.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I guess one way that we sort of stress tested this situation was when the PMDs got banned.
Yeah.
And I think one comic artist, local comic artist, he made this entire post about how the people who are working in like food delivery jobs now, they cannot rely on that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
because the PMDs are kind of a stopgap. It's like it's better than a bicycle, but it's more affordable than a motorcycle. Yeah.
And we've got to acknowledge that it's going to be a certain economical class of people who are most badly affected.
Better run the
Yeah.
And a lot of the people in the comment section of that comic were just like, learn the code.
Yes, and it's so
Like, learn the
condescending and so
code
didactic.
and-
And I mean, I say this by admitting that I come from like relatively privileged position, and I think like but at the same time, it's so. That's the thing, right? The learn to code comment, like it's so dismissive and so sweeping.
Is it just because someone maybe doesn't know how to code or aren't in STEM or like something? Does that mean that they aren't worthy of a safety net? Their family isn't worthy of eating?
And
I
think
don't know.
I feel like it also reflects the mindset of your life sucks because you're not doing one thing. If you did one thing differently, if you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps, if you were hardworking enough
Clean
to go
your
and learn one
room.
thing, right? And yeah.
Did our government or like these companies ever help these PMD delivery people?
I think they're like putting things together to help them, but I think it's just the initial reaction to it that kind of shocked me. Like that, so many people were like, "Good for them. They shouldn't have jobs." Blah blah blah. And then I was like, "Oh Lord, you guys are."
Yeah, and I think like you were saying that this thing in the comment section, I think it very much reflects the mindset of. So that's where I was going with this. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a little bit. But there was a recent Channel News Asia piece where they interviewed a lot of freelancers and actors about how their livelihoods have been affected by the COVID-19 outbreak. And I had a friend who was interviewed in that segment, and she was really upset with the way they edited it, because they edited it to have like some people's association guy or something like that, like someone from the government saying, "Oh, they should just use their skills future credits and they should go and learn new skills," as if these people don't have skills. Yeah, because if you are in the arts, you're inherently unskilled.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the framework. And to me, that is like that tells you everything.
Yeah,
and that's not
all
going to
this.
change.
These
right?
people, like these people who tell these delivery driver dudes to go and code, have never delivered food.
Yeah, they've never been in a place in their lives where they need to rely on a job like that.
Yeah, it's not
for their
easy.
survival.
It's not easy.
Yeah, nobody wants to do it.
Yeah.
And I think it's like the way all of these, I think like the way the word unskilled worker is thrown around just makes me uncomfortable. Because like if you ask me to build a house, if you ask me to pave the road, I can't. I don't know how to do that. I would consider that a skill job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of like we all have to reevaluate our perspectives and where our starting points are, and realizing that different people have different starting points, and I'm just sort of like taking it for granted that everyone has the same starting point that I do, which is not the case.
And starting
Like this is like a whole different issue that can be on a whole other
episode.
Yeah, it's like this class thing.
Yeah.
But I think like it does go back to the stress testing, right?
Yeah.
It's like a crisis will expose all of this. It will kind of like bring all of these inherent weaknesses or stress points to light. It's like an earthquake, and then the building falls down, and like, oh, these were the structural weaknesses in the building.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you re-engineer your buildings? How do you rebuild your buildings such that
So what
they
that
can withstand
might have exposed.
Yeah.
I think the issue with this like this is a good opportunity for people to learn and rebuild the structure properly, but
Will they learn?
will they learn? Because what I've learned from a few companies that I've heard about is that they're just using this opportunity to completely just blame the virus for whatever happened. That they don't learn, that they don't recognize that there were issues in the past that made them vulnerable to this situation, and they just completely shifted the blame entirely onto the virus. So after this is over, they're gonna redo the whole thing the same way, whatever they did before, and then when another crisis hits, they will fall, and then they will blame the crisis, and then it just goes in a cycle.
Where it's like an endless series of scapegoats.
Yeah.
So after the earthquake hits the building, they're just gonna rebuild the building the same
It was
way.
the earthquake's fault.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And while, of course, partially it was the earthquake's fault, but you can help to make it not collapse so badly next time.
Yeah, you can find ways to learn like how find ways to learn. You can learn how to build your own structure in a way that is more, is less susceptible.
Susceptible.
Okay, so you know as Singaporeans.
No, it's not bad. I'm counting like the number of references we've made so that I can draw a Venn diagram of the references. Because so far we've referenced like Noam Chomsky, we've referenced Chapo Trap House, right? We've referenced
Like bananas.
Yeah, we've referenced what else have we referenced?
J Chow. Okay.
No, yeah. No, we have to like we referenced YOLO and we referenced like Woke Salaryman, right? And
Yeah. Wait, I didn't even mention his name.
Oh yeah, you're not. That's right. It's a local comic. Yeah.
A local comic.
Yeah. Okay. So
no
that's-
offense, I don't like his comic.
No, but I think
do,
like
I do.
that's very much how it is, and it's I think that's the position that and any place that kind of like I think in that case is I am in a position to give advice, and it's so easy to lose sight of the position of the people to whom you're giving advice when you're in a position to give advice, and I feel like it can be that way as well with anybody who is a professional in any industry.
Yeah.
And it's like you forget where you came from, you forget what's like the start and what's like the struggle.
It's one thing to know what we're doing this podcast is to not give advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our advice.
We
Our
are-
advice is don't give advice.
Because we are just people who just want to come together and talk about these issues. We're not like professionals or anything.
And to me, like I think I very much learned the power of saying I don't know.
Yeah.
And especially when you see the spread of misinformation, and it's a lot of it is people not wanting to say I don't know. So they'll pull some fact out of their ass to appear smarter than they are because they don't have the intellectual humility to say I don't know. Let me look it up. Let me check that.
Oh, this has happened so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big problem. Another episode.
It's good. Yeah, we have an endless number of episodes if we can find the space to record it.
How long have we been talking?
Okay, we have been talking for 46 minutes.
Wow.
That's pretty good, right? We
That's
can just
pretty
do an
good.
episode, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like that's kind of hopefully this is where this goes, where there is kind of an overarching theme, but there's still room for a conversation to freewheel. In a way, a conversation that you normally would have with friends. Without a microphone, there would.
Yeah.
And I think that's, to me, that's always the push-pull. It's like I want to hear something which is going in a direction, but at the same time, I want it to be enough spontaneity. So when I listen to podcasts, I'm always like very, very acutely aware of that. Like how much
Like
of
if
this
it's
is
too
real.
scripted.
Yeah.
It feels like, oh Lord, I can't listen to you when I'm drawing.
Because then to me, that's a radio drama.
Yeah.
Right? That's like a serial or whatever. Like,
I mean,
that's a different
some
genre to me.
podcasts are nice, like like that kind of Night Vale.
Yeah,
Oh.
because
Different, that's a completely
to me, that's a radio
different-
I need
drama.
to catch up on Night Vale,
Night
man.
Vale
Yeah.
or like Beef and Dairy, like those are radio dramas.
Yeah.
And a podcast to me is something like My Dad Wrote a Porno, right? And you guys know My Dad Wrote a Porno.
Yeah, I have heard of it.
Yes, I love it so much. So I want to be. I told my dad. I said, Dad, you know what you gotta do? I want to be famous. I want to be a podcasting
I
celebrity.
really tried to get into No Sleep podcast, but I can't.
But I think I mean the place that I started was and I'm still listening to a bunch of them is Bad Movie Podcast. It's podcasts where they tear apart bad movies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Started with the
It's like your Kickstarter sucks.
Oh my gosh, that sounds fun.
I listened to the Flophouse, a little bit of how did this get made. So yeah.
You were saying something?
I started with an odd place, Adam Conover's
Adam Ruins
podcast.
Everything?
Yeah, he has his own
Oh.
podcast.
Okay.
And also the writers of QI.
Right.
No such thing as a fish. Yeah.
Yeah. So like
And
the British
another-
panel shows, right?
Yeah, and also one more Small Town Murder.
Yeah.
Oh,
So like,
I love Small Town Murder.
I feel like this is actually very helpful because this kind of gives you a reference point. It's like where are we approaching? Because we're all fans. We all listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, currently
It's like
I
where we
listen
come-
to Conan O'Brien Meets a Friend.
That's good, right? Yeah.
But actually,
It's pretty good. It's
yeah,
pretty good. It's pretty good.
I listen to a lot of video essays. Video essays.
I like the dollar. I was listening to the New York Times daily. I was listening to the daily on the way here.
Yeah, that's good. I listen to a bunch of the crooked media shows.
Oh,
So it's like Pod Save America, Love
Yeah.
The arch enemies of Chapo.
Ronan Farrell did a podcast, like just 10 episodes. It was pretty good. It was the Catch and
Catch
Kill
and Kill.
podcast.
Yeah. So that's kind of a
it
spin-off
was
of his.
really good. Yeah.
I should listen to that. Yeah, I listen to so like I also like investigative journalism podcasts like that, which are those are kind of like yeah, it's kind of like an article that's come to life. So it's more like a documentary than a bunch of friends sitting around the table kind of podcast.
Yeah.
So to me, that's another box.
Another genre.
Yeah.
Oh, my first ever podcast was the Mental Illness Happy Hour. Have you heard of it?
No.
You introduced it to me. But I never listened.
Paul Gilmartin. Yeah, he struggled with alcoholism and depression. So now he kind of talks like every episode. Like he has a guest and they talk for like hours.
That's
Hours. It's really long, but like really quite worth it.
And I think like sorry, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
Oh no, I've listened to a few Joe Rogan episodes.
Right. Yeah. I think
The arch enemy of everyone, I think.
We're gonna
like.
slide past Joe Rogan.
yeah, right.
We are gonna ignore that I mentioned that. But I mean, he does like what 3-4 hour long podcasts and he talks about
with a variety
DMT or
of
something.
people, right?
Yeah.
With like Elon Musk. Has Obama ever been on the show?
I don't know, man. It's like everyone from I think Ben and Jordan were on there. Ben Shapiro and Jordan.
They're there a lot, yeah.
Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They were both on there, and Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, so
that was very interesting.
Like without going too much into what I think about Joe Rogan, I just feel like the audience is generally kind of broy. And like there are different scales of broiness.
Yeah.
So it's like there's some kind of broiness that like, oh okay, I can kind of click with that. And there are other kinds of broiness that, oh, these are people who believe me in school. So
Oh my god. I'm sorry. Another podcast is Outrage and Optimism. Have you guys heard of it?
no, what's this?
It's about climate change. It's these three hosts. They were a part of the Paris
Climate Accords. Yeah.
Climate Accord in the UN. Like they played huge roles in that, and now they've come together and they have a podcast and they interview people. They have their own like inputs. It's really, really quite insightful. I've learned a lot. I'm just plugging it for them, even though they probably don't need me to.
Yeah.
But it's really good. Like guys, we're really fucking good.
So I think it's very much a case of these are our influences and this is sort of where we're coming from. This is the base that we built. So we're not saying that we're going to be.
We have no base.
I mean, like the kind of the base of influences. So it's like this is it's not gonna be exactly like any of these things that you named, but these are all things that we've listened to. So subconsciously or otherwise, like it would kind of influence our styles. And I think I've always like ever since I've listened to podcasts, I've always been like, oh, I wish I could be on one.
Same.
Yeah, and I think like that's weird, and that's the beauty of the medium is podcasting is probably the lowest bar of entry. Of any kind of thing you can sit down and create because
But it can be so good.
yes, and that's the tantalizing thing about it. It's like wherever this goes, like I just wanted to give this a shot, you know.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we
So you don't need
to come out here and
You don't need to bring your lights, your camera. And
We may not be from
you
the
don't
UN.
need to see my hideous face.
Yeah, I don't need to take pictures for you guys. Haha.
Yeah, and like I always like having to do the minimum amount of homework because I feel like I'm not too bad on my feet. And I say this just like botch the pronunciation of the word minimal. But yeah, because I've done like radio stuff as well, and I've never really prepared any of that. I just go on and like
Ramble.
I mean, I ramble within the perimeters of Singapore radio. There's a whole long list of things you can't say on Singapore radio.
OB markers.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it'll be my
And we don't have that here, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of great. So this is we're coming up to an hour. Any kind of closing thoughts that you guys have?
Any closing thoughts? Well,
For the very
this was
first
a
episode.
little. This was kind of messy, and I actually did like script some things, but I'm kind of like, I think the next time round I'll just like say whatever instead of really scripting.
I don't remember what we talked about.
Yeah.
And I think like to me that's the thing, right? It will all depend on listening back to this and hearing like how it flows, because I think not having a structure can in a certain way be more of a structure. Like the structure is in it being like a regular conversation that you'd have with your friends.
Yeah.
We'll listen to this and see how we would like to change or improve.
Yeah.
Because there's other like suggestions for episodes where it's one thing that we kind of like
Yeah.
zoom in onto, and then we can branch out of
Right,
like a
yeah,
specific piece of media
have
or
a Google Doc,
specific
yeah.
Google Docs. We're organized people now, Mom. Are you proud of me?
Yeah. Mom's not gonna listen to this. I'm
Mom's
kidding
not.
myself. Yeah, but I mean the thing is, hi mom. But the thing is like, and I come at it from a point of view of media criticism.
Yeah.
Like I can only talk about things in the framework of movies and some TV. So like if you have, but from there I branched out and talked about other things as well. Like on my talk sets on the radio, it began as just like talking about and reviewing movies. But then occasionally I kind of came to be like an unpaid guest host. Still very
Get paid, Jet.
yeah, I've tried.
Get
Yeah.
fucking paid.
No, I wish it were that.
I will loan shark them for
Yeah,
you.
I
You
wish it
get
were that
paid.
easy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I kind of get hurt when all my friends yell this at me because it's like, I know, yeah.
I'm
no, I had
sorry.
a friend who recently said, oh, you put the free in freelancer,
Oh my god.
Oh
and
Lord.
then she was like,
Ouch.
trying to burn me with that, and it was
Ow.
like, yeah. So that's where I am. Drake, you understand?
I come at this from a place of I like to listen to myself talk. One.
Same.
And-
Oh
Yeah,
my
I like to
God.
listen to myself talk
I-
over people.
I hate listening to my voice. Like when I listen back to this, I'm going to skip past my.
Yeah.
I
I
have a
am.
filter. It's just remove.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna sound like a complete bimbo. Just like I'm like.
Am I the only one who hates their own voice?
I mean, like I like talking to
Yeah.
myself, but then when I
can
listen
only hear-
back,
yeah.
oh lord.
Yeah.
I can only
That's
stand my
better than
singing
listening
voice.
back.
That's why I can have
Oh, let's hear a little bit of it. Come, Drake.
No.
Drake.
no free content.
Oh.
No
Free
free
content is my
content.
It's on Spotify. You can listen to it. Which
Oh yeah. Let's
Let's
plug his Spotify. Okay, so
Soft Universe.
yeah,
Anyway, but it doesn't matter. Like a play is like 0.06 cents. It doesn't.
yeah.
Again, free in freelancers.
Yeah. Okay, let's just plug our socials. Do you want anyone to follow you? Anywhere?
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like and subscribe. I'm not gonna give up my Instagram yet.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm
I'll
not
give
gonna-
out my movie review Instagram, which is Jedi the Movie Guy, JEDITHEMOVIE.
Guy.
Guy. G-U-Y, Guy. He was the writer who forgot how to spell guy.
Am I supposed to plug? I don't really want to plug.
It's okay.
Yeah,
you
we
don't
don't have to plug yet.
It's alright. Well,
Just
yeah.
wear your seatbelt.
Yeah. Wear your seatbelt. Wash your hands.
Yeah, cough into your elbow.
If you're not sick, you don't have to
Don't
wear a mask.
if you're not sick. Yeah.
Keep the stocks for the people who need them. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Don't sit in groups of 3 or more gathered around one microphone.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.